Hi, Eight of Cups family. Welcome to your May readings. A quick reminder, guys, that this intro will be in the beginning of each and every video. If you're not interested in watching it over and over again, I do provide timestamps within the description box and the first comment of each reading. So if you've listened to this before, you can kind of skip past it and move on to your cards for that sign. The intro is a little bit about the astrology of the month, and it's really charged in May. That's kind of the word that I want to use, is charged. I think we're all really charged up. We're all ready for this change. Now, I've said it in a few of my videos. I don't mean to repeat myself, but it is true. We're in a 5-year and May is a 5-month. So there's a promise right there that there will be changes occurring. As well, with this new moon that moves into Taurus around May 11th, there's a significant shift because we move officially into eclipse season. Guys, I know most of us are seeing the signs. We're seeing the things. We're seeing the changes. We're seeing that things don't fit us anymore, or things that do seem to fit us better. And then there's like that whole hesitation thing. And the month of May actually does hold a lot of consequences. The decisions that you make now, the things that you choose, where you are kind of pushed, and how you react all play a really large role in your future self. So it's kind of important to take these transits pretty seriously. Now, we also have a lot of shifts in energy this month. We're moving from, the wonderful Venus placement in Taurus, where we got, I feel like, a few weeks to kind of enjoy our surroundings, enjoy the things that we have. We got to tap into a more sensual side. I think some of us were probably maybe like, I call it romanticizing our homes, enjoying our family a little bit, maybe getting into new routines, embracing the new weather, and making plans for the future, because Taurus season really is all about the making of the plans. How do we want the future to look? It also played a big emphasis on our values, of course. Things are playing out around us, and it's making us question, do we still believe in the things we believe in? Do we still want the things that we wanted? And as everything starts to make this transition into Gemini, first Mercury and then Venus, and then the Sun will all follow into a conglomeration of planets that are joining this North Node. It's pretty important to understand that May will be pretty revealing. It'll be revealing as to where we're going and what fits us. And there's a need to embrace the new, which means there's a need for the courage to let some things go. South Node, Sag. We're in eclipse season, guys. These nodes are super important. It's really important to know where they're falling in your chart, what areas of your life are being heavily affected by them. And probably the biggest news of the month is, and albeit a month full of eclipses, is the taste of Jupiter moving into Pisces. This is much different than Jupiter's energy in Aquarius. Jupiter tends to expand the energy. It makes it bigger, stronger. Jupiter moving into Pisces is going to have a very different feel. And what happens is Jupiter slips into Pisces just long enough for it to make a square over to that Mercury and Venus. And it starts to tell a story about what 2022 is going to be about. So you want to be really vigilant around the middle of the month. Start looking at the way that things are unfolding. There's a lot of emphasis of this Gemini placement. Now, about a year ago, we had Venus in Gemini go through a pretty serious retrograde period last May and June. We've been here before. We've been looking at these stories for a while, okay? This is not about like the new shocking things popping up. They will, of course. We have Uranus making a square to Saturn, but the ultimate issues are clear to you. And I think a lot of it has to do with our ability to embrace the change, our ability to get curious, to start paying attention to our surroundings. Gemini does have a lot to do with our environments. Gemini rules the third house, and it's all about that creativity. And when you think of creativity and you pair it up with the intellectual, the intelligence of Gemini, you can make a lot of really wonderful things happen. Now, I always say, when I look at the fifth house really truly belongs to like creativity and joy, but it also can make you lazy. Jupiter in Pisces can also make you a little lazy. But all that third house energy gives you the new ideas, the new things that we're creating, the new directions that we're going in. And it's about exploring them. It's about opening up to the curiosity. It's about communicating, of course, having those conversations, expressing ourselves. And guys, as Saturn begins to move into this formation of the second square with Uranus, it's really important to stay true to ourselves and our authenticity. Saturn in Aquarius is going to make you separate yourself from like the group think. And that's super important right now, because part of what needs to change has been over the years of us kind of doing what society, what other people, what other structures in our life expected from us. And now the 2020 happened, 2021 rolls in, and we're like, well, why are we even doing it like this in the first place? One of my favorite examples of this is kind of what happened when we all started to work from home. Like, there was almost a death of the 9 to 5. Of course, it's got its downfalls and it has its bonuses. We could work whenever we want, but we could also maybe always be working. We have to invite the new in, and we have to tweak it. And what this retrograde season is all about is the tweaking. Now, we have Mercury that's going to sit in Gemini for an extremely long amount of time. It's even retrograde longer than it typically is. So you can kind of look at this time, and it won't actually be retrograde until the very end of May. Mercury enters its shadow zone around May 15th. Close to the same time as a new moon in Taurus. We're starting to get things rolling. We're entering our shadow phase. And I just want to tell everybody it's okay to make the changes. It's okay to proceed, because Mercury is going to give you a chance to perfect it, to make the adjustments. It's not like about the big commitments. It's about just trying it. It's about being brave enough to just explore the possibilities. Now, we already had Pluto go retrograde, so there's definitely internal work as far as our power dynamics. Where do we give our power away? This is a time in which we take it back. In other words, if there are people in your life that manipulate you or tend to make you feel like you have to stay in this box, we're definitely in the process of growing out of the box. And Saturn is also going to station retrograde, and when Saturn stations retrograde, it does become a lot about the karmic cycles. There's things that are ending. There's old storylines in our lives that just simply don't fit us anymore. Those bad relationships, the unfulfilling jobs, the friendships just out of, social niceties. And those things are going to get phased out, and we have to be brave enough to embrace that. And by that, I mean it's going to take a lot of self-love. Moving into Cancer season soon. It's right around the corner. And the next several months, like I said, are an extremely karmic period. The summer is an extremely karmic period. It's about the movement. It's about the processes, and it's about getting things started, guys. So really important to kind of tap in to the things that you truly want, okay? It's also really important to break out of habits of stagnation and what's keeping you small. So again, those relationships, those jobs, whatever it is where you feel like you have to kind of dim your light or you can't express yourself. And we're seeing this all the time on social media, right? Like, It's no lie that with Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, we're going to start to see the consequences of what happens when you deny our freedom of speech in a way, okay? There's consequences involved. Where are you denying yourself from speaking up, from standing up for yourself when you see that something's not right or something doesn't make sense or it's not in your authenticity or integrity? I think the next couple of months is like this opportunity to be like, you know what, this is just not for me. And it's not about you and it's not about us. And we're not going to take these things personally. We're just going to proceed in another area where it's more welcoming, where we could have a stronger purpose. All of this is because of our drive for the purpose. Our world is changing. Everything around us is changing. Our priorities, our structures are changing. And so we have to start to realize what really matters to us and what are the things that we can release. You know, if you're miserable in a job, it may be the time in which, regardless of financial status or burdens, it may be time to take the risk. Relationships as well. If you're staying in relationships as a means of security or as a way to not be alone, you could probably expect those ideas to kind of dissolve right in front of you. And when we have Jupiter moving into Pisces, it is really all about the surrendering. It is really all about the dissolving. And in order to fully embrace it, you have to have faith. You have to have faith in the universe that we're all moving in the direction that is right for us. And it doesn't mean that other people are wrong. It just means that this is what's right for you. Of course, when we take that kind of attitude on, there's a lot of people in our lives that can resist this because they need us to be this certain way. And so this is where the friction of the Saturn-Uranus square comes in. And it's about, like, what are you accountable for and who are you accountable to and what really matters. So a lot of self-inspection, reflection that's been going on over the past several months that kind of comes to the surface now. It starts to like really take place in the material realm. There is no doubt that people will start to make the big moves, make the job change, move environments, change your houses, change your states that you're living in, change your political associations. It's all about the changing to reflect who we are now. And if it doesn't come from an authentic place of integrity, you can expect a lot more bumps in the road. But if you're going towards something that is reflective of your greater purpose and your destiny, you will find it to be the path of least resistance. So pay attention, guys. I hope you enjoy your cards, and I do hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful month, and I'll be back soon. Take care, guys. Bye. Hello, Cancer. Welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot, and welcome to your cards for May. Guys, I love this reading. I love every bit of this, and I just want to tell you off the bat, do not underestimate a 6th house, 12th house transit. And you're in some serious 6th house, 12th house territory with the eclipses, everything making squares, as well as hosting Mars in your sign. I mean, Cancer, there's a lot of power behind the things that kind of unravel in the next couple of months. Not to mention we have Jupiter ascending, leaving your 8th house, which is kind of like the end of like the real darkness, the heaviness, the debt of life. and moving into the 9th house. So this is a natural placement for Jupiter. He's very exalted here. He's also approaching Neptune. So there's a level of idealism, there's a level of renewed hope and inspiration. And because you are hosting the 6th house, 12th house nodes, depending on where you are in your spiritual journey, it could be either really rough, you know, a lot of loss, a lot of still having to release. But I feel like for the Cancers that are here today listening to these cards, I think you've been doing that. I think you've been all along kind of really cooperating with this whole idea. And I think as these eclipses start to hit and you've got all this powerful masculine cardinal energy around you and surrounding you, because I feel like you have the tools, you have the people, you're in the right place. And I feel like Cancer is braced for the new beginning. And here we have the Page of Coins as your energy. Now, I believe this also came up for the last one, Gemini. So maybe you have some Gemini placements in your chart, or maybe you're, you know, going through some stuff with a prominent Gemini. But this is your energy. This is kind of what the universe needs you to be for this next month. I love her. Like, she almost seems kind of flirty for such an earthly tone. Now, of course, there's curiosity here, and you can't ignore, you know, Mercury moving into his powerful sign of Gemini in your 12th house, where he will be until July. And it's important to remember as well that as we go through these eclipses, which really starts at the new moon in Taurus, mid-May, around the 11th of May. And it's really important that we can kind of tap into this mercurial energy. Now, because it's a page, it does represent the newness. And I don't know why, but I feel when I hold this card, even like the feeling of Cancer kind of removing this lead drape from them, like removing the heaviness, all of the thought, which could get us stuck. And the Page of Coins is a reminder that you are not stuck. You might be feeling a little bit adventurous and yet, you know, grounded. And that's what I like about this mix, because it's not irresponsible. I'm not saying that Cancer's kind of, you know, dropping the ball at work to go have a good time. No, it's very methodical, but it's also like enjoying the things that you do, or pursuing the things that you enjoy, learning new skills. Maybe somebody's making an offer to you and you're exploring, you know, the setting, exploring the options. Is this something that I'm interested in? You know, as well, there's kind of an energy of her holding this coin and she's kind of thinking, should I make this offer? Should I give, you know, maybe considering extending something to someone? But the environment here is the Hanged Man. And this is kind of like when the universe has us suspended. So your environment is that of suspension. And yet you were feeling curious. So you could probably expect some frustration, some tension, of course. We're moving through some pretty big squares. We're bracing ourselves for that Uranus Saturn square, which is all about like breaking free from the structures. And I think the Hanged Man in the environment is the idea that there's not much you can do right now. You know, it's probably a lot about the external circumstances when the Hanged Man is involved. Waiting for other people to make a move, waiting for other people to make an offer, waiting to see how something plays out. And it's not a coincidence that the first two cards out here is that of the King of Pentacles and the Hanged Man. So still super grounded energy. But what I love is the beginning of the month, you're in King of Pentacles mode. Now, awesome. Awesome, because he's stable, he's wise, he's, you know, he's so smart and careful, and he knows his value. And I think maybe for some of you Cancers, you're starting to know your value. You're starting to get like how all of it works, right? Like we've got all this stuff going on. We've got Uranus in your 11th house. Maybe there's been some realizations about like who and what you give your time to, especially in regards to friends or relationships or business partnerships or, you know, even like communities. And Uranus comes in there and he kind of really shakes things up. And he's like, you know, that thing that you've been doing for 20 years, that job you've been in, or that relationship, or even just like the thought process of how life is supposed to go and what it's supposed to look like. King of Pentacles can be stubborn. A provider, yes. Confident, yes. But also a little stuck. And so we have this Hangman here, and it is a blessing now because your environment is in suspension. But while it is in suspension, you are receiving a major enlightenment. And this is exactly what happens when the nodes start to light up your 6th house and your 12th house. It brings illumination to some kind of dark and hidden places, you know? Mercury moving into your 12th house. Venus moving into your 12th house. Are you going to learn some stuff? Yeah. You're going to see things from a different perspective? Yeah. Are you going to see people for who they really are? Like I often say, the Hangman in reverse is kind of like when you start to see people without their masks. If there have been people that have been taking advantage of you, talking behind your back, in general, just kind of stealing your peace, you break free. And it happens quickly, you know. 8 of Swords in reverse is like getting out of your head. The Hangman is the awakening. And then you realize the whole time you've been keeping yourself here. It's been you. It's been you, probably because there was something you didn't want to really look at. Something you were trying to avoid acknowledging. And maybe the truth is you're avoiding acknowledging the fact that there's someone in your life avoiding a lot of things. And this is like the culmination of a lot of people doing really nothing about that thing. But you can't stay there. The universe won't let you stay there. In 2020, a 5-year and a 5-month, you know, the starting of the eclipses, the build up to the second Saturn-Uranus square, change is a promise, guys. And it couldn't stay here anyways. This King of Pentacles is rooted down by the 9 of Cups in reverse. Whatever you were stuck in, whatever thought process or thing that you were like really devoted to, wasn't fulfilling you at all. And maybe this was a job. Maybe it was an amazing, stable job that you had for a really long time and you thought you would really be there forever. And then all of a sudden, all of these energies started changing and it began to feel empty. And when we're in this 12th house, spiritual ascension, spiritual awakening, we start to see ourselves differently and we start to learn more about who we really are. When we're not trying to be that thing that all the other people needed us to be. Do not underestimate how different you will be from the beginning of 2021 and the end of 2021. Right here, center of the reading, Mercury card, the Magician, 12th house. It's so clear to you how you have been sabotaging yourself or holding yourself back or staying in situations that were really dulling your spark. It's so weird because Cancers have this super loving, nurturing, beautiful souls. Like they can offer and will offer unconditional love in the right environment. And I think you know that. I think you feel that in yourself. I know that you know what you have to offer. The kind of love that you can give, the kind of passion that you can kind of pour into your work or your projects. So why would you stay in something that you weren't able to express yourself in? Something that felt a little bit cold. I don't know why I almost can feel like with these swords in particular, like the coldness of the steel that you've been surrounding yourself in and the sharpness. Jupiter's going to move into that 9th house and you're going to feel your heart open. Ace of Cups. And you may very well get like a little bit of a glimpse because that's what this is. Jupiter moves into Pisces for a very short time, a couple of months, then he retrogrades and then he finishes up his story in Aquarius, not moving back into Pisces, not moving back into your 9th house until December. So this is a preview of the heart opening, and maybe you're meeting someone, or maybe you are starting to go after this new thing, this new beginning. It's not going to happen all at once. You're going to see it. You're going to feel it. You're going to be, something comes along and awakens you. And once you feel it, you're going to want to go after it. You're going to want to follow that passion. It's undeniable. This is a part of yourself that's been there all along. It's been there all along. And so we have this card here, a tidy house, clarity, and organization. Well, yeah, when you have a 12th house transit, you should probably expect that the 6th house is being heavily affected as well. And I love this card, a 1 next to an Ace of Cups, a 1. And this is all about emotions, and we have to tidy up our emotions, which means we have to tidy up how we feel about ourselves. And it starts in that 6th house place. I always say 6th house is like my house of mastery because it's like when you grow up, when you start to, it's a house of Virgo. When you tend to the little things and you honor the daily rituals, like the making your bed in the morning or not going to bed with the dishes in the sink, and you start really good, clean habits, there's no doubt you will begin to feel good about yourself. And that's where it begins, feeling good about yourself. And so there's something about being grounded, Pentacles, but also allowing yourself to pivot between that 12th and 6th house. Your daily rituals, cleaning things up, and also cleaning up the emotional, subconscious realms of our life. And that's like those places where we stay in relationships or we're attracted to people. There's not a question. Most Cancers are very empathic. And naturally, the 6th house and empaths will attract narcissistic people. And it's really important that we start to realize, like, who has the narcissistic tendencies in our life and how is it affecting us on a personal level? And what do we do about it? Pluto in your 7th house, Cancer, you're taking your power back. And it's all about balancing those emotions and balancing those relationships. And maybe for some Cancers, they got out of some pretty yucky stuff and they had to take the time to heal from the constant chaos, to start to really enjoy and love their life. And when you have the tidy house and you have clarity and organization, well, then you kind of look around your surroundings and you feel gratitude. You become very grateful for this place that you are in, grateful that you were given the insight to see people for who they were. and that you had all of the tools to allow the change to occur. And this is like Cancer's acknowledging that they are very important, and that they can't always be the end all, be all for everyone else. Like, Cancer's like woke, but in a positive way. It's not about like what everybody else is doing. It's about finally acknowledging what Cancer truly needs, and what Cancer needs is this Ace of Cups. Because they've made the space, because they've done the work, they realized what wasn't fulfilling them, and they began to manifest the things that are fulfilling them. The Magician is manifestation. You're bringing this in. Through prayers, through dreams, through meditation, Abraham Hicks, whatever it is that you're doing, Cancer, you are bringing in this love, this heart opening, this new belief. And I like that the Ace of Cups is kind of sandwiched in between these swords, the Four of Swords and the Eight of Swords in reverse. Again, a message that you've done the work. You took the time out. You stepped away. You took a rest. And you got out of like that mental place of being stuck. Well, yeah, but if I leave this, then what will other people think of me? And how will I pay the bills? And all like the practical stuff that makes you fear and delay and procrastinate. And I mean, look at the power of this center row. Hangman in reverse, enlightenment, the Magician, manifestation, and the High Priestess, divine support. This is all rooted down by the fact that the universe wants exactly what you want for yourself too. You can't stay in situations that are stagnant, that you can't express yourself. And Cancer, if you have tendencies to kind of play it safe and hold yourself back and not believe in yourself, you're going to stay in this hanged man for a long time. Like if you're waiting on other people to become what you idealize them to be, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to make the change yourself. You're going to have to go after the things that you want. You're going to have to express yourself. I mean, you're going to have to go with the heart. But you have divine intervention. You have spirit on your side. You have intuition. Please pay attention to your dreams, your synchronicities, any signs that you're seeing. Pay attention to your gut instincts. There's this Ace of Cups here and this Page of Coins here. There could be somebody coming towards you, making you an offer of love, and this is exactly what is meant to be. This is exactly what you manifested. But you have to allow yourself to be curious. You're going to have to allow yourself to trust it. Because it's really all about this. Full moon in Libra. A win-win outcome is forecast. Here we have the balanced scales. And then you got the Mintaken, longing for home, belonging, and the original light workers. You're being called. You're being called. And you might be wanting or trying or to get some kind of assurance, some kind of like guarantee, or like not wanting to make a move until you know like how this whole thing's going to unfold and where's it going to go and can you trust them? And the message, Jupiter, Pisces, 9th house, is you're going to have to feel your way through it. There's no wrong decisions here. You asked for it, and now you have the opportunity to move towards it. It's calling you. And this thing has the power to balance your life out. You've had to be very cardinal the past couple of years, Cancer. You were hosting the North Node. You know, Cancer was kind of the star of the show, the movement forward, which meant you had to learn a lot about yourself, which means You had to deal with that whole south node, getting rid of the things that weren't working, learning how to release, learning how to emotionally detach from stuff. And you've done it. You've done that work. And here you are, probably feeling a little more isolated, a little more alone. And this is you longing for that place, that home where you truly belong, that job that is the thing that really ultimately does fulfill you, that relationship that feels like home, a best friend that makes everything okay. I feel like some Cancers have been out there kind of without their shell, kind of exposed to the reality, exposed to the harsh conditions. And you've been like doing it, right? You've been doing the work. But there's a part of you that's tired, and it's seeking that compassion and that safe landing place. And that's kind of what you've been dreaming about. And it's about partnership. When it's in Libra, it's about partnership. Who are we to others? Who do we want to be? What do we want to experience? Now, let's not underestimate the fact that Pluto is almost at the end of Capricorn, which means it squares off the entire generation of people that have their Pluto in Libra. We've learned some really hard lessons about relationships, about fairness, about control. And now we're all gonna heal and then want to do like the healthier version. Maybe for a lot of us, partnerships were something of like a status, like that thing that you do, like hurry up and whoever you're dating at 26, you marry because that's the time that you get married and you start having the babies because that's what all the friends do. And this is just an example. And then someday you wake up and you're like, wow, I just did all of that stuff because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. And it was so far from what my heart really wanted, what I was really meant to experience in this lifetime. Guys, we're healing lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes right now with all this air energy. We are like flying through the lessons one after another after another. They're kind of showing me like an ATV kind of running through a rough kind of jungle, and it's like kind of just dodging tree after tree, going as fast as you can to get through it. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at in this healing process. Things are so accelerated. Cancer needs to find their way back home to this unconditional loving place. If you feel like you've been hardened lately, you'll be softened. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Cups, my favorite card, because it means that ninth cup is a wake-up call. Yeah, I'm stable. Yeah, I got what I need. Yeah, I'm good. Like, this is if you're single and you're seeking a relationship, it's not like seeking a relationship so that you can cohabitate and share the bills and like be there for each other. It's more, of a heart place. It's more of like the soulmate that you want to share the emotional experiences with, not just the material, mundane stuff. And this is Cancer being really ready to walk away from the things that aren't the big, intimate, sharing stuff. Saturn in your 8th house, guys. It's all about being true to your intimacy, being true to your heart and your emotional needs. Look at these two cards. Taking a break from 11 by the book, taking a break from everybody's expectations for you. I don't always get that with this card, but I think you need to take a break from thinking about all the things you have to do, all the things you're supposed to do. And just figuring out like who you are inside. There's a face. There's a face on the cover of this elephant here of like self-reflection. And for some of you, I think you don't realize that you are a leader. And if you've been dimming your spark because you're afraid to step into this position of leadership, the universe is really going to push you. I feel like this is the universe pushing you. And there's people in your life that will push you. They will inspire you. They will help you to move in the right direction. Those are your home. Okay? These people are your home. They honor your emotions. They find you. There's something about, the 6th house transit. It's to make things sacred. It's about the rituals. And there are people in your life that will make you sacred and you will make them sacred. And you can find peace in that. And you will find peace in those things. And I don't think that Cancer is going to be willing to settle for anything less. Now, these 3 cards did kind of come out as kind of maybe a little bonus reading. Right next to this 8 of Swords in reverse, we have the Ace of Swords, the 3 of Swords, and the Page of Swords. Now, because it came out on the side, this may not be for all of my Cancers. But for some of you, and I'm just picking up Venus in Cancer, maybe specifically, there is going to be some sort of a truth. There's going to be something that you're going to have to see or acknowledge, and that's what those eclipses do. Like, they bring light to the hidden areas. They illuminate the things that we didn't know or we weren't willing to see. And so for a lot of you, I think you can expect a pretty good dose of clarity. And I think that dose of clarity, even if it does sting, even if it does hurt, is ultimately happening to kind of clear you from this state. Like if you think about, like, if you get a cut or something and you immediately kind of run it under really cold water, which is what I see that rain is, like the cold water. And there's some kind of truth that brings you to this healing point, this relief from the hurt, relief from the stinging. There's relief. And the Page of Swords is when you begin to feel relief, you can begin to express yourself. You can begin to communicate. And there will be messages. People will be honest with you. And you will be honest with them. And if you are looking for a new relationship, Page of Coins, King of Pentacles, if you're looking for a relationship that can grow into something very solid and steady, but also is emotionally fulfilling, you have to be able to be vulnerable. You have to be able. Yeah, for sure. But it's not easy. It's as if we've been through so much. It's not easy to just step into something new. Like, notice you didn't get the Fool card. It's like you see the new thing and you're like, all right, I'm going to move towards it. I'm going to move towards it. But every time the terrain gets a little rocky, you're going to be like, oh, forget it. Forget it. The universe is going to push you. But it's going to mean it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's good. It's going to feel uncomfortable. You can't be with people that you can't be a Page of Swords with. Cancer has no business being in relationships where they can't express how they feel. They're holding themselves back. They're being cold. That's not the right place. Again, this is all this coldness. The need for like the cold water. Here, this person is like sitting by snow and cold water. Like that water is frozen and she's a mermaid. So I don't think that that's an enjoyable place to be. You're stuck in an environment that you don't want to be in, and it's all about manifesting the new, but trusting it when it gets here. And I think a lot of the message is to get ready. Get ready, because what you're asking for is coming, and you can't hesitate when it gets here. You have to know this is the universe giving you that thing that says, come on, let's move up to the next thing. Let's ascend your life. And there's no doubt that you have spirit guides and past loved ones that are looking over you and guiding you and sending you messages, because that is and will always be the 12th house. And you have to also learn to trust that. Absolutely beautiful reading, Cancer. I love it so much for you guys. I do hope it's a fantastic month. I'm looking really forward to the June readings. I'll probably stop in at least for mid-month eclipse pick-a-cards if I don't get to like full set of mid-month readings. But I do hope it's a great month for you guys, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.